Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to Stories with Pastor Macy and Wesley. Today is our 22nd story this month. That's a lot. Let's unwrap today's book. Did you want to hang on to that? Yeah? Today is The Candymaker's Gift, A Legend of the Candy Cane by David and Helen Heidel. And this is one that I grew up reading, and I looked long and hard for the same edition with the same pictures that I grew up with. So let's read The Candymaker's Gift. Long ago, on a cold wintry morning, a warm light glowed in the windows of the candy shop. The old candy maker shuffled to the front door and hung an open sign in the window. Turning to the pot-bellied stove, he knelt down to stir the coals and add several logs to the fire. Deep in thought, the old man slipped a linen apron over his head and tied it around his waist. All the while he smiled, thinking about his 7-year-old granddaughter. What can I give my Katie girl for Christmas? He wondered. I'd like to surprise her with a special gift. Reaching underneath the counter, the candy maker pulled out an old trunk. He unpacked a wooden hand-carved nativity set and carefully arranged the large figures on the ledge of the front window. After he put the trunk away, the candy maker bustled about, cheerfully refilling candy jars with mints, butterscotch drops, jelly beans, and candy sticks. He chuckled as he thought about Katie and the village children. He knew all the children by name, and he knew all their favorite candies. Looking over his list of Christmas orders, the old man marked an X beside the names of the families with children. I'll slip an extra bag of candy for the youngsters, he said to himself. I wish I could see the children's faces when they find the little surprise that I've sent. Humming a Christmas carol, he opened the cupboard and took out an assortment of bows, ribbons, and small holiday decorations to trim the gift packages he needed to prepare. Suddenly, the doorbell jingled, and a blast of wind and snow blew into the shop. To the old man's delight, a group of children scurried inside like a little flock of birds. Laughing and talking, the girls and boys crowded around the candy case, eager to select their treats. The candy maker smiled as he noticed Joey, the youngest boy, pressed his worn. The old man knew that times were hard for Joey since his father had died. Everyone except Joey laid their coins on the counter and picked out their treats. The candy maker chatted with the children while he packed their candy into bags and tied them with red ribbons. I can't wait to decorate the house and tree tonight, said Ben. I can't wait to see the expensive china doll I'm going to get for Christmas, bragged little Sarah. The other youngsters were silent. The old man knew that hard times had fallen on many families in the village. Most of them would have little to give this year for Christmas. Kim Lee piped up excitedly. Mr. Candymaker, do you know that our school party is on Friday? We're going to have treats and play games. The old man laughed. Kim Lee, I know you always love to have fun. Oh, time for school, said Ben, hearing the clock chime. Quickly, the candy maker passed out their little sacks. Then he handed a small bag to Joey, whose eyes lit up as he reached for the gift. Thank you, Merry Christmas, called the children as they scrambled out the door. Watching from the window, the old man glanced down at the manger set. He remembered watching his father carve it many years ago. I hope the children won't miss the real gift of Christmas, he thought. Walking to the back of the shop, he knelt by a chair and prayed, Dear Lord, you love these children more than I do. How can I help them know you and receive your gift of Christmas? Show me how I can bless them. Gripping the chair, the candy maker pulled himself up and wiped tears from his eyes. He took down an old iron kettle, measured sugar and syrup into the pot, and lit the kitchen stove. Patiently, he stirred the candy mix, waiting for it to boil. When the syrup began to bubble, a smile brightened his face. Maybe that's what I can do, he said. I'll try making a new candy for Katie and all the children, a candy that tells them about Christmas. What flavor should it be, he wondered. Cinnamon, raspberry, maybe peppermint. I know Katie likes peppermint. Picking up a small bottle, he carefully added 3 drops to the pot. He said, smelling the minty aroma. This reminds me of the spices given to Jesus by the wise men. I want this candy to be different from other candy sticks, said the old man. It needs to be white because Jesus is holy. He lived a pure and sinless life. I want this candy to be hard, not soft or chewy. It can be a reminder that Jesus is like a solid rock, firm and trustworthy, always there when I need him. The candy maker poured the thick golden syrup from the pot into a bowl to cool. While he waited, he looked around his shop, wondering how else this candy could be special. Greasing his hands with butter, he pulled the sticky glob from the bowl and began stretching it. The more he pulled, the smoother and whiter it would be. He still felt discouraged. Lord, I can't think of what to make with this candy, he said. Show me what to do. Looking over the nativity set, an idea flashed in his mind. Using his hands, he quickly rolled a clump of mixture into the shape of a long rope. Then he cut off a short piece and gently curved one end. Triumphantly, he held the finished stick and smiled. Now what will Katie and the children think of this? The doorbells jingled again, and a familiar voice interrupted the candy maker's thoughts. Hi, Grandpa, I'm here. A 6-year-old girl skipped across the room, her curls bouncing. The old man laid his candy stick down and turned to hug her. Katie, how's my favorite granddaughter? The rosy-cheeked girl laughed. Oh, Grandpa, you know I'm the only granddaughter you've got. Yes, he chuckled, and you're still my favorite. Katie's eyes opened wide as she spotted the candy stick. What are you making, Grandpa? It's a funny shape. The candy maker sat down to watch her. What do you think it is? He wrinkled his brows, waiting for her answer. She grinned while she turned the stick sideways and all around. I know. It's a cane, like the one you always take on your walks. The old man laughed. I hadn't thought of that. It does look like a cane when you hold it with the hook at the top. Katie pointed to the nativity set. And it looks like a shepherd's cane. You're right. Shepherds call it a staff. They lay their staff gently on the sheep's back. It shows their love, like a hug or a hand stroke. The staff comforts the sheep. It also guides them on the right path. The hook at the end can help rescue sheep whose woolly coats get snagged in bushes. Shepherds also use their staff to pull the sheep away from danger, like snake or a sharp drop-off on the side of a cliff. Smiling at his granddaughter, he said, Go ahead, taste the candy. When Katie licked the sweet stick, he continued, This staff can remind us of Jesus, our good shepherd. A good shepherd loves his sheep. He will do anything to save or rescue his flock, even give his own life. The candy maker cut another stick and curved the end as he wondered, how can I explain everything? Then turning the stick upside down, he asked his granddaughter, what do you see now? Katie's eyes lit up. It's a J. Why did you make a J? He smiled, because at Christmas we celebrate the birthday of Jesus. This candy J is my special Christmas gift to you. Oh, thank you, Grandpa. It tastes yummy, and it smells good, too. But it looks kind of plain. Could you make it more colorful? You're right, it does look plain. Nodding his head in agreement, the old man chuckled as he opened a cupboard full of small jars. I wanted the candy to be white because Jesus is holy and sinless, but I'll try adding some color, he said. Use red, said Katie. I like red for Christmas. He took a jar from the shelf and picked out a small paintbrush. What does red make you think of, he asked. Katie watched her grandfather dip his brush in the food coloring. Red makes me think of hearts and love. Ah, you're helping me, dear girl, he replied in a soft voice. Slowly and carefully, the candy maker painted a swirl of red around the white stick. When he finished the long stripe, he looked up and said, The Bible tells us, for God so loved the world, that he gave his one and only son. Oh, Katie, I pray you never forget the very first gift of Christmas. Was baby Jesus the first Christmas gift, she asked. Her grandfather nodded. Yes, Jesus was God's gift, a gift to love the whole world. This red stripe can remind us of God's great love. The old man spoke in a softer voice as he began painting another line on the candy cane. Red also makes us think of blood, the blood that Jesus shed for us when he died on the cross. It makes me sad to think that Jesus died, said Katie. Yes, it is sad, but his death on the cross proved how much he loved you and me. It's a joy to know that Jesus willingly gave his life so that we could be forgiven. When you taste the sweet candy, you can think about his sweet love. Remember, Jesus isn't dead. He came out of the grave alive, and he lives with us today, and that is a great reason to rejoice. Katie smiled and nodded. And someday we'll live with Jesus in heaven. Tears blurred the old man's vision. Yes, we will, forever and ever. Heaven is God's great free gift that never ends. The old man's eyes glistened as he handed Katie the finished candy stick. Watch how you hold it. It's still wet. The shopkeeper leaned back in his chair. Well, now, tell me, what do you think of it, my Katie girl? Oh, I like it, Grandpa. Will you make some more? I'd like to give them to my friends. And I can tell them what it means. He saw Katie's eyes sparkle. Yes, I will make some more, he promised. And you and I can work together. After I cut each stick, you can curve the other end to make it into a cane. You can even try painting the stripes. It's going to be fun, she said. Tears of joy filled the Candymaker's eyes. Silently, he prayed, "Thank you, dear Lord, for hearing my prayers, and thank you for Katie." The old man leaned forward and smiled at his granddaughter. "Dear Katie, you were part of God's answer to my prayers today. I had wanted to give you a special gift for Christmas, but you gave something to me. You helped me make a candy that tells the real meaning of Christmas, a candy that reminds us of Jesus." Katie threw her arms around his neck and hugged him tightly. "Oh, Grandpa, I love you. I'm so glad I could help." "Let's thank God for helping us both," he said. Together, they knelt and prayed that this candy gift would be a reminder of Jesus, God's perfect gift of love. And that through it, many would learn the true meaning of Christmas. Outside, the snow fell quietly, blanketing the little store. Inside, the warmth of the wood stove and the sweet smell of candy filled the workshop. The Candymaker knew that he and Katie would always remember this day. But they never dreamed this sweet gift would become part of Christmas traditions around the world. Today, we call it the candy cane. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. It's very nostalgic for me. It ends with some suggestions of candy cane parties and how to decorate with candy canes, and some Bible verses about the meaning of the candy cane, and some prayers to receive God's Christmas gift of Jesus. I hope that you have accepted Jesus into your life, that you remember not only his birth, but his death and resurrection, and the fact that he is alive today and wants to be part of our lives is a wonderful thing. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. We will see you tomorrow for another story. Bye-bye.